Man, I think I gotta stop these videos with talking to myself. People are gonna think I am crazy. Nah, bro. People aren't gonna think you're crazy. Why would you say that? Well, everybody keeps telling me that, talking to yourself leads to arguing with yourself, and that's when you know you've really lost it. Bro, you need to stop listening to everybody else. You're not arguing with me. You're not arguing with the Chad. So why are you getting all paranoid? Just calm down, dude. Wait a minute. Since when did you get a name? Or since when did I give you a name? Your name's Chad now? What is this? Now my imaginary alter ego has a name? Yeah, bro. I'm the Chad, and you ain't getting rid of me, man. See, man? This is how it starts. We're already starting to argue, and now you have a name. This has got to end now. This is over. Too bad, bro. You're stuck with me now. I ain't going nowhere. What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, that's right, guys. The poor Techno does not look too healthy, does it? Well, after the first initial test bash with this thing, the thing drove great, handled great, jumped nice, but there's a few things I got to get fixed on it now, and a little tweak I got to make with the steering. But to fix that, I had to wait for this to come in. We got a new front diff case, and because the screws pulled out of the bottom hinge pin brace out of the actual gear box here. So I got a new one in. There's only like, I think $12, but that's the number, the TKR 9412. It's for the ET and the NT48 2.0. But guys, in this video, we're going to get the gearbox mounted up on this thing. And I got to get the steering fixed because I was having to have the steering point set really far. So obviously my steering horn was not on there straight when I started. Because we're going to get that thing fixed up. And maybe in this video also, we're going to get the XMAXX all back together. My rear RPM hubs on this thing started getting really kind of nasty. Did this a long time ago, but I got a new set of the RPM rear hub carriers for this thing and the bearings, and also I got the another version of the XMAXX wide kit for this thing. And on the last bash, I also broke that whole centerpiece that goes on top where the ESC and all that stuff went. So plan is to get the Techno and the XMAXX fixed up in this video. So I think that's all that's left. Everything else is actually running, guys, and everything else is in pretty good shape. But I want to take the Techno out for a proper rip on the motocross track. So we get this taken care of first. So stay tuned, everybody. One thing that's good about this car is it's very easy to work on. To pull the front diff off here, I'm just going to pull off this front steering plate and take off the front, pull the main 4 screws out of the bottom of the diff case and the bumper, and pretty much everything comes out in one giant piece. You do have to take off the top toe links or steering links. I guess they're camber links, should I say. See, I'm always saying everything wrong, guys. But anyway, and disconnect the front shock tower. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff pulled off of here, and I get it to where we're pulling the diff case off, and I'll bring you guys back then. All right, everybody, we got it all torn apart here. Got the rear hinge pin brace pulled out of here. It's still nice and straight, and nothing happened to it, but it just got ripped out of the rear diff case here. Pulled those 2 screws out. You can see it's broken, and that's what happened whenever I was at the indoor track. It ripped that screw out there closest on the right side out. So this was kind of an old repair gone bad again, but anyway, I've got the diff case pulled out, got it all disassembled, and I'm going to go ahead, split the diff open, transfer everything over to the new stuff, and now we'll start reassembling this and get the Techno back up and running, and then hopefully get the XMAXX up and running too. All right, everyone. Well, we got the new diff case mounted up here. I got swapped over the diff. I'm going to use the existing front case because it's got the sway bar and everything mounted up to it, and it didn't get broken. So rather than transferring all that over, I'm just going to transfer that over. So I got a new front diff case if I ever need it. But here's the old broken one. Didn't have that much use, but took a couple of nasty hits. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted up back on the chassis, get everything mounted on here again, and we should be good to go. I did change my camber slightly on the front hinge pin. I'm going to tow them in just a little bit more than from stock. Also, because to be honest, the original straight ones, I ripped one of them, and the other one seemed to be gone. So the only 2 I had left were slight toe in camber. So that's what I'm going to go with and see how I like it like that. But let's get her back together, guys. All right, well, we got the front end all fixed back up again. We got the new diff in there, or the new diff case, should I say. Got everything mounted back up, with everything tightened up, gone over everything else. looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a battery hooked up to this thing, set my steering to 0, and try to get this link in the right position, because right now I'm losing a lot of my, I think it's right-hand steering. So I'm going to go ahead and try and correct that real quick, and then we'll get started on the X-Maxx. All right, well, as you can see, this is with the steering set at 0, and it's steering to the right pretty hard. So I've been having to adjust it all the way to the left to get it to go straight, but then obviously I'm losing a ton of my steering range. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off the servo horn off of here and get this thing centered up. I might have to adjust the link here a little bit to make it perfect, but I gotta get this thing a lot closer than this because the steering was not right. Also, this is the battery I got for it. You guys can see it's the 4,000 milliamp little 80C 6S LiPo, fits perfectly in here, but I'm gonna get some other batteries for this thing because, like I said, the battery tray on these things, you don't have as many options as you do with some other cars. But anyway, let's get the steering fixed. Well, that looks a lot better. So I got the link off and I had to adjust the main link in quite a bit. I probably went in a good 1/4 inch, I would say, somewhere around in there, maybe even a tiny bit more. You can see there's not much of a gap in here anymore. So I adjusted that in a whole bunch, and now she's looking pretty straight. I can touch it up minor with the steering, but guys, the servo in this thing is ridiculous. But anyway, all right, we got the steering fixed up in it now. We got the new diff case in here, and everything else was good to go on this thing. It just had that stupid brake when I hit the tree, but I'm gonna go ahead and button this thing up, and we'll go ahead and start on the next one. Well, let's get started up on the X-Maxx now and get this thing fixed back up again. Last time I had this thing out, she took the beating pretty well. I went out there and had some fun with the X-Maxx, but it does have a few little things going on with it that I needed to correct and repair. Number one, as you guys can see, I have a ton of play in these rear wheels, and it's contributed to two different things. Now, if you look down here, right there, you can see the bearings in the RPM rear carriers here are completely just like ovaled out. There's a lot of space in there. And I mean, these things have been on there since pretty much I had the car, so they've had some pretty heavy beatings, obviously. But also, some of the play is coming into due to the M2C extensions I put on here. Now, the ones I have on here were the prototypes, and there were some tweaks and some adjustments and measurements changed for the final product out there, but I still have the prototypes on here, and they were creating a little bit of play in the initial part. Now, anything any of you guys bought out there, obviously, you guys got the updated version, but these were still the prototypes I have on here. So now I'm going to finally put on the real deal and get the X-Maxx fixed up, and we're going to get her back up and running. Also, I had busted this, guess they call this thing the chassis. It's a chassis support. The thing goes down the center. This piece right here that runs along the whole way. As you guys can see right here, maybe if I can stop dropping things, it completely sheared it off. Snapped that thing pretty hard. So I'm going to go ahead and change that thing out. But anyway, enough yakking. Let's get this thing fixed up. All right, well, we got the old one torn out of here, the busted piece. So I can go in the garbage now. We're getting a new one fitted up on here. And I just had to take off the top part of my M2C Racing centered brace and the motor mount here, unscrew these two. And I go ahead and slide in the new one, and I'm going to go ahead and screw this back in place, get that all together, and then we're going to move on to the rear hubs here and get these changed out and get the new extensions on there. But, everything's going pretty smooth so far. It's not fighting me too much, at least. One other thing I did get to do and put the proper one on was my M2C Racing center drive shaft system. I hadn't had this apart in quite some time as far as tearing all this, splitting everything. But while I had the drive shaft out of here because I had to take out the screws to remove that centerpiece, I finally put in the final product of that too. I'm a little bit behind, being a little bit of slacker, guys. But anyway, we got the new one in here because the old one had the mounting piece up in here, and you had to use shrink wrap and stuff, but this is the proper one with the steel cups and everything. So we got that in there now too. So the X-Maxx is getting better and better by the moment. But I'm going to go ahead and put the screws back in here for the top brace, close this back up. We're finished up. All right, well, we got everything buttoned up with the top brace and the bottom center drive shaft system. Everything's all tightened back up in one piece. Now it's time to go ahead and get the new RPM rear hub carriers mounted up on here, and the new version of the M2C Racing wide kit for this thing. And like I said, guys, I want to reiterate this. Everybody that ordered this got the normal version. I was still running the prototype version during the testing time, so that's the only reason I'm changing mine out. I just want to make that clear. So I'm going to go ahead and get these things torn off. We'll start swapping these out and get everything tightened up in the back end now. I figured I'd show everybody, for the curious people out there, on what exactly the changes were with the M2C Racing wide kit. As you can see, with the prototype version, we had the hex nut with the Delron washer. It was two separate pieces, and there was obviously there's a little bit of play in there. This was kind of just the testing out the sizing and all that. With the updated version, it came as one whole piece with your hex nut and the aluminum flange and everything built into one. This was definitely a really nice setup. Mitch Navy Looper just, put together some great products, guys, and they really, that's the whole point of having all the test team out here, and it's great that they do that because everybody gets to go out there and run this stuff in the real world, beat on it, see what wears, see where the problems might come into play, down the road, and they adjust it before it goes out to everybody else. And it's a great way of doing business, and I really, really appreciate the way M2C Racing guys do this. But anyway, guys, I just want to show everybody what the differences were from the prototype to the final product, and these are what I'm going to get fitted up on here now. So we got the new RPM rear carrier on here. I got the same outer bearing. This was replaced pretty recently, but we got a brand new inner bearing on here, so everything's nice and tight now, and get these fitted up now. I had to show you guys the difference now in the play in this thing. So here is the old side, and here is the new side. It does not move at all. That's literally the tire wobbling, but there is zero play in that thing versus that. Big night and day difference. Well, we got the XMAXX all fixed up and ready to rip again. And guys, the play is all gone out of the back end of this thing now. It is a night and day difference. So much better. Got everything changed on this thing. This thing's pretty much rock solid at this point. I don't have any little weird things kind of hanging or broken at this point or cracked. Everything's been holding in there great. On the last bash, I didn't have any bulkheads or bulkhead towers crack after the hot racing plate tie brace on the bottom. So she's ready for the next bash, guys. And she's a little bigger and better than the last time. Also, guys, let me know down in the comments if you guys enjoy these little shop videos. I mean, honestly, it takes a little more to do some of these than it does even just a normal bash, trying to put together, cutting in and out and as I'm going along. So if you guys enjoy them, I'll continue doing them. I like doing them. But if you guys don't, I won't worry about it. But let me know down below. But anyway, guys, we got the Techno fixed up, the XMAXX fixed up, and everything else is good to go at this point. So all we need now is a day that's not raining outside. It's been raining all day today. Go out and bash hopefully this weekend, and I want to take a few different cars out and definitely take the Techno out and hopefully get a proper run with it this time. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for the repair video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And now we got a couple cars fixed up and ready for the next bash. But that's going to do it. So until next time, y'all, be safe. Be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.